Benjamin Bill Howard, son of Colonel Edward and Abigail Howard, was born at his ancestral home in Bridgewater on March 2nd, 1788. He was the fifth generation to live and successfully farm the land on which his great-grandfather had established an inn. He became a learned man by diligently availing himself of the educational advantages of the schools of the day. Prominent in town affairs, he served as captain of a local company of militia, held positions in town government, and was a respected businessman. In 1837, he moved his business to Bedford, where he became connected with whaling and merchant activities. Captain Howard was a man of strong character and energetic will, firmly fixed in his opinions. He did not willingly bend to opposition. In business, he was a powerful force. Remarkable was his ability to distill problems to the core, live simply, and keep his affairs wholly to himself. Unitarian in his religious convictions, he judged people by their real worth without reference to station or condition. Money was only a means to doing good things for others, especially children. Upon his death, it was discovered that he had bequests for the benefit of his hometown in the amount of $102,000. They were as follows: to the town, $80,000, the income of which was to be used for the establishment of a high school or seminary up there, to be called the Howard School; $20,000 to the First Congregational Society of this town, the income of which is to be applied to the support of Unitarian corporate location; and $2,000 income of which is to be applied to scientific lectures attended. First Church is a church which is a covenant of Northern not a church of Christ in the Unitarian Association. So therefore, in honor of we present this lecture to his commitment to education, humanitarian efforts, children, and liberal Unitarian principles. Welcome.
So welcome this evening. We're pleased to have Maia Hay with us this evening. And I think good old Benjamin Beal Howard would be very, very happy to have Maia presenting tonight because he had daughters and he built a whole school for them so that they could go to school back in the day. And he was very much into education and humanitarian efforts and I very much for community too. And I'm thinking that he might, I don't know if the 4-H program was back even in existence in those days. Do you know, John?
Early 1900s, so.
This is a presentation.
1900s?
I got
Okay,
you.
all right.
It's in here.
But very much in favor, I can imagine, of community organization, anything that builds community and builds the character of people. So pleased to have you tonight, and thank you very much for being here.
So everyone, my name is Maia Hay, and I am a town resident of West Bridgewater. I am a recent graduate of West Bridgewater Middle Senior High School, class of 2016, and I am from the East Middleborough 4-H Club. I belong to 3 clubs in East Middleborough 4-H, Garden Club, Poultry Club, and Drama Crew. And outside of that, I also am a part of Plymouth County, which is part of the whole Massachusetts 4-H. So today, I'm going to talk to you about the secret life of a 4-H'er and what that entails. So this is just a PSA first to start it all off. Let me just get it up here for you all. It's going. It's loading.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our technical skills, our math, our engineering skills. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our organizational skills, our problem-solving skills. You're going to need our determination, our honesty, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
So that was a PSA that they showed us at a youth rally I went to, and it's really empowering. It's actually on TV now as a nonprofit organization commercial, so it'll show up on your TV when you watch TV. So that's cool. So 4-H is the largest positive youth development and youth mentoring organization, empowering over 6 million young people in the U.S. It's actually working on empowering 1 out of every 5 youth in the whole world. And every 4-H'er that knows, there's a pledge that you say. So if I could have every 4-H'er that's here repeat the pledge with me. So ready? I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health for the better living of my club, my community, my country, and my world. And we repeat that before every presentation we do, every club meeting we do, and most fairs do it as well. So Massachusetts 4-H. Massachusetts is based at the University of Massachusetts Amherst and has offices in 7 regions across the state. Amherst, Barnstable, Pittsfield, Plymouth, Walpole, Waltham, and Worcester. This specific is Plymouth County, and ours is actually, Plymouth County is the largest out of all of them, and has the most members too. And then the United States, 4-H's partnership with over 110 land-grant universities. East Middleborough 4-H in 1949 was established by Hazel Blanchard, who wanted to start a 4-H craft club for 7 girls. And it grew so large that they started to incorporate boys as well. So it started off as all girls. And in the March of 1950, the East Middleborough 4-H Community Committee was founded, and it actually has the honor of being the oldest in the whole state. And enrollment is not limited to just East Middleborough or Middleborough residents. So I come from West Bridgewater, so I'm allowed to join East Middleborough. So anyone in Plymouth County can join East Middleborough 4-H. It's not like a selective group, and any ages 5 to 18 can join. So we start working on public speaking from when you're youth, 5 years old. And there are a variety of clubs you can join. I'm a part of only 3, but I know people who are part of 6 clubs. So just some are art, baking, and for the younger kids, they do Clover Buds. So they start, they do more crafty stuff, and they can still show, they just don't, it's not competitive showing. And there's a dog club, and there's 2 of those, a round of applause and then positive effects. There's gardening, homesteading, livestock, poultry, quilting, rabbit science, theater, and wood, which is scroll sign. And then the East Middleborough 4-H fair is actually just specific to our sort of county, because I've talked to a bunch of people across the United States and in our state, and no other club organization runs their own fair other than East Middleborough that I've talked to. We're specific in that we're purely run by the members of the club and volunteers that come in and run that fair. So there's no rides and amusements. It's all agriculture, and everything goes straight to East Middleborough. So in my house, 4-H is a family tradition, sort of. We follow in each other's footsteps. So over here on the right is my grandparents, Ron and June's French fried onion rings and fried dough stand. And now both of my parents run it. On both sides, you can see both of my parents in 1990 as they went to Ireland on an IFE program through 4-H. So in this one, my dad's in the back row and my mom's kneeling in front. And then in the back row is my dad. Mom's on the left there. which is also where they met the second time. Just like, and my dad actually got to travel through 4-H to Taiwan and use his public speaking from 4-H to run a 4-H like presentation to the people of Taiwan. And then this is my mom doing her 4-H community. And my dad actually in his poultry club, when he was a youngster like me, pigeon poultry, and now mine is foul play poultry club. And then on the left, you'll see judging eggs over an island in 1990, and then on the right, actually our eggs being judged in 2013. So some things stay the same, while some things change. And our eggs won blue that year, so it was good. So some core things about 4-H is hard work. Everything you do, you keep a record of, so that you can prove that this is my project, I worked, and you also have responsibility. So we take care of our birds, making sure that they're washed and clean and fed, and do chores every night and every day, along with, even if you're not in an animal club, making sure that you're responsible for being at your meetings on time and there. And leadership, making sure that you're not only respectful to others, but you're also a leader to the other kids in your club. You have 5-year-olds, you may be 16, they're not gonna know everything you know. So it's a good thing to show them what you know so that they can tell others. Also, compassion. 4-Hers are really passionate about what they do. If anyone asks you what 4-H is, most people will say, it's not something I can really explain this to you. It's something that you have to experience for yourself. It's something that you have to go out and do or volunteer and be a part of. Another great thing about 4-H is service. Like I said, the fair is completely run by volunteers and club members. You don't get paid to do it. It's completely volunteer. And then another is teamwork. Not only do you have to do teamwork with your other 4-Hers, but you're also doing teamwork with your animals, because there's a certain line of respect where you show them, but you also have to know where the line is drawn between how far you can go when you're showing your birds. So at a young age, we were repping our 4-H pride. On the left here is my brother Cameron repping his 4-H skills. On the right is my brother Duncan in his 4-H garb. Honestly, the fairgrounds, I'm just saying, guys, are the best place to work ever. There's fried food. I mean, and it's great. As a kid, I remember I always wanted to be the one that worked in the fry stand, because I got to take orders, not do money because I was way too young, but handle them drinks. And for me, that was being a part of something bigger, where as a kid, I didn't really get to do that many things that were so important. You got to, I got to meet new people and learn new interests and be around a ton of animals. I mean, in this new age where we're all about technology. I mean, I don't think I go 10 minutes without looking at my phone, but I think because as a kid now that I got to be around animals all the time, I think it's a great way. We don't look at our phones during meetings. We don't use our phones during meeting. It's purely you talk about the subject you're talking about, and it's more about what you're learning than who's text messaging you or what's online or what's on Facebook. You're in the moment. And the great thing about it's not only are you helping others and learning to public speak, but you also have fun while doing it. I mean, I think my best moments have been at the 4-H fair, meeting new people and getting to experience it with my family. You also get to try new things in 4-H. As part of Garden Club, I've got to experiment with different plants, learn techniques in growing vegetables. I've learned valuable skills in hard work, such as weeding, planting, and watering, and how they can pay off. Having vegetables come from my garden, such as these were purple potatoes we grew for the first time, and they were delicious. And I never thought I'd grow purple potatoes. I didn't even know they existed, but I did complete it. And you also learn valuable skills. In the Foul Play Club, I take responsibility for my own animals. I get to learn the necessary skills to participate in showmanship. I get to dress up my animals for Halloween and Christmas. And I get to learn more about what I can do for my animals and not just what they can do for me by giving them their eggs to me. So most people don't know that you can wash birds like chickens, but you can. It can happen. So I got to watch, that's my bird Snowflake. And we actually washed her in order for me to show her. And on the right is Romeo and Juliet dressed up for Halloween. And on the bottom, that's Draco Malfoy dressed up as Draco Malfoy, the devil. You also get to break from the status quo. The Drama Crew was the first ever theater club in East Middleborough 4-H and in Plymouth County. There's been no other club like it. We've gotten to put on performances, practice acting, singing, and improv. We work on public speaking in front of crowds in a different atmosphere rather than just visual presentations or just giving a presentation in general. You're doing acting in front of each other, working off of each other. We learn stage makeup, and we actually get to go see live performances. So we recently, 2 years ago, and like last year, we go to performances at PPAC, and they actually put our club name on the sign outside when we went and saw Peter and the Starcatcher. So this is, you also get to eat a lot of food, guys. I joined a pie eating contest for the first time. And you make friends for life. This is my really good friend Lauren. She goes to Norfolk Aggie School, and this is her and me eating the leftovers of ice cream at the fair. The whole barrel of them. And me and her talk all the time. It's a place where you don't have to text every day, but when you see each other, you've got that connection to 4-H. You don't need to know anything else. Opportunities. In 4-H, you're given a lot of opportunities that you wouldn't get inside school. Not something that you really get to do. Because our school is a public school, we don't have an FFA organization, which is Future Farmers of America. Most agricultural schools have them, but they're not really put into public schools or private schools. But being a part of 4-H, even though you're not part of FFA, you can still go to these things and be a part of them. So Agricultural Day at the State House is you get to visit representatives from our towns and speak to them and talk about the importance of the 4-H program and just agriculture in general, especially with the technology advances. It's important to know and keep farmland. And I actually got to go with my dad with the MNLA, and it was an amazing experience getting to talk to representatives and go around and see all these people who are as passionate about the same things you are. And then also visual presentations. So one thing specific about 4-H is that you can do visual presentations on a county and regional level and move on to states. So selected presentations move on to the Big E, which is a huge fair, and state competition. It teaches 4-Hers valuable skills in researching topics, organizing materials, developing visual aids, public speaking, and you can start as young as 5-year-olds. 5 years. Okay. But starting at 5, you're already learning to public speak and do things in school that you don't even learn until you're a sophomore. So going in, I already know what I need to do, such as make eye contact with the crowd, speak loudly, use diction. I knew, we learned that at 5 years old. And it's a great way for kids to get over things such as stage fright or speaking in front of crowds or just holding a decent conversation. And topics can be on anything. You get to choose. It's not like I'm in dog club, I have to talk about dogs. Or I'm in garden club, I have to talk about plants. You can talk about anything. My first year, I talked about how to throw a pot because I like pottery. My second year, I talked about field hockey. There's no sports club. The third year, I talked about edible plants because I liked eating. Fourth year, I talked about Scottish attire because I wanted to dress up in my kilt. So you can basically talk about anything you want to talk about, and they love it. The judges love it. Everyone loves it. This past year, I judged 4-H, and it was the best thing. There was this little 5-year-old giving a visual presentation. He spoke better than the 16-year-old. He was super excited. I think he went over 10 minutes talking about, I think it was just like video games. He was just talking for 10 minutes about video games, and it was great. He had no fear. He just went up there, and he was like, I'm doing this. It was great. I actually got to go to the National 4-H Conference in Washington, D.C., Chevy Chase, Maryland, actually at the 4-H Center. I had been there before, but when I went, I met no other 4-Her. There was no one. But when I went this time, every person was a 4-Her. So the National 4-H Conference is you go and you're selected from your town, so like county. So there were 7 of us from Massachusetts as delegates. And you go and you're put into round tables. So each separate round table talks about a specific topic that the previous year selected. So mine was, communities, like choosing peace and strengthening communities. So we worked one-on-one with the AmeriCorps about how they can reach a younger audience, such as schools, because they work as soon as you graduate high school. You can go into the AmeriCorps and go up until you're 21. 21 or 25. But you can go straight into it after it. And they actually, if you want to go during college or after college, they hold off on your loans, so you don't have to pay them until after you leave the AmeriCorps. So we worked one-on-one with them on how they can really reach that younger audience and work on their webpage, so it's less about the how much information they have and what they really need to be telling the people that they're affecting. And it was great for me to have this because I wanted to go into that, so it let me make those connections with those people, so after I have a better chance of getting in, which I wouldn't have been able to have if it wasn't for 4-H. And actually, after giving the presentation to the AmeriCorps networking sector, we could see changes on their Facebook page 3 days after. They had already used what we had said to them in a matter of 3 days. And it was great to know that what we had to say made an impact, and knowing that as a 4-H'er, what I said, they really took it as a consideration. On the state, we had a Capitol Hill Day, which we got to go and meet all of our representatives and senators. So we got to talk with Elizabeth Warren. I took a selfie with her. And we also got to talk with Keating, which was really great. He actually sat down with us, and we had a conversation. He's really close with the Norfolk Aggie School. He's visited multiple times. He's actually coming to the Marshfield Fair this year. And we really talked with him about 4-H new goal, which is to affect 1 out of every 5 students. I'm wearing my True Leaders t-shirt from the youth rally we had, and he was really receptive to it, and we talked about how important 4-H has been into our lives, not only in how we communicate with people, but in what we want to do with our lives. I don't think if I didn't take 4-H, then I would know that I want to, for the rest of my life, I just want to help people. That's what I want to go into. My other best friend is going into bioenergy now because she learned it through her science club in 4-H. So we talked to them about, this is us with Senator Keating, or Senator Keating, about our 4-H. So we're all from different counties too. So it was great getting diverse perspectives from different clubs and talking to them. So what did 4-H help me with? 4-H helps me with college applications, making friends across the world and across the country. My own interview into the college I'm going to when Wheaton was done by a fellow 4-H'er. So as soon as I went in, when she saw that 4-H was on my application, she's like, "No way, you were in 4-H? I was too." And I'm like, "Where did you go?" And she's like, "I'm part of Norfolk Aggie in Barnstable." And I was like, "No way." It was great. And we instantly had that connection. You didn't even have to, there was no tension. As soon as you met that other 4-H'er, we were really close. And I think that's one of the things that made me decide to go there. Job recommendations, your leaders and your advisors and ambassadors are a great source of recommendations. Public speaking, I'm in front of you all right now. It helps you a lot. And then finding out what you want to do with life. That's what 4-H is helping with. And anyone can join 4-H. It's not specific to any age. As an adult, you can join as a volunteer. And it's also not something, I know for me, my family's been a part of it since my grandparents were a part of it, my mom and dad were a part of it, and now I am, but it's not something that has to already have been a part of your family. You can join at any time. They're really accepting about it. And you can sign up and volunteer this coming year. Join us. Their 4-H fair is actually September 3rd and September 4th. It goes from 8 a.m. to dusk because of the mosquitoes. We don't want any of you getting bit. And it's a lot of fun. This is us last year, working the fry stand. Pretty great. And then this is just a longer video about it. So you're gonna want to see this one. It's really good. I like this one's really good.
It began with the seed of an idea. In 1902, the Heartland needed folks to embrace new advances in agriculture. But leaders with open minds, strong hearts, and willing hands weren't in abundance. Luckily, kids were.
By empowering the next generation to lead, 4-H took root and grew and grew and grew. Grew kids who are confident and strong, who are curious enough to question, and capable enough to find the answer. You stick to a job until the job gets done. You know how to work with others and how to lead. 4-H has kept right on growing. Out of the farms and into the towns, from the suburbs to the cities. Anywhere curiosity roams and confidence thrives. Anywhere technology can be advanced and achievement is valued. Anywhere positive change is possible and giving back moves entire communities forward. When you think about it makes sense that we began with farming. After all, true leaders aren't born. They're grown.
But I feel cute. But I didn't. I
It began with the seed.
So the great thing right now is when I was at the National 4-H Convention, the conference, they actually had a youth rally, which was really great for 4-H because we're so focused on the kids and what they learn and how they learn and showmanship, we're lacking sort of in the advertising sector of 4-H and really getting it out to people. So it's like, because I go to public school, not so many people know about 4-H because we don't really have FFA. But if you go to an agricultural school, you're more likely to know about it because you do have the Future Farmers of America and it's sort of involved around you. So at the youth rally, with the promotional videos they're doing, they're really starting to get out there and show, so everyone, it reaches everyone in the audience. And I think it's really great that they're trying to reach 1 out of every 5 and not just the 6 million they already have. It's really been good for 4-H to that a lot of companies have been accepting and like running this as a nonprofit, so they don't pay anything to have it run on the TVs. So yeah, so that's great. Thank you for listening to my stuff about 4-H, guys.
I have a question.
If you have any
Maya.
questions, yes.
How do you judge an egg?
So
I saw the blue ribbon. I'm like, how do you win a blue ribbon?
So, the way you judge an egg is you have a set of 12, and the way it's done is by uniformity. So, if they're all the same size, you want them to have the same color, you want them clean, you don't want any, so eggs can sometimes have bump, just the way that they come out of a hen. You don't want any of those, no scratch marks. You want it to be as clean as possible, and uniformity is what you want.
Can you make your animal lay eggs like that, or is it just?
It's just
Luck
what
of the
comes
draw.
out. It's luck of the
Okay.
draw.
Okay.
It's what comes out. You hope for the best. Yes. You just hope for the best. If you have enough of them, you don't really have to worry about it. But I mean, yeah, that's how you judge an egg. So. Any other questions?
Yeah, how about like city kids? Is it?
So actually, City Kids are actually a great example. 4-H actually does reach them a lot. I met, so you know, like Atlanta, Georgia, like it's a huge city. They have a huge drama program. So their theater is 4-H programs are mostly theater. And actually a ton of them performed at the youth rally in front of us and for us. They reach on they mostly work with the sciences and theater and less with growing. It's hard because they're in the urban areas. They still join clubs. I have friends who are part of garden clubs from like cities. They just use the community gardens. So 4-H actually started their own. Yeah, I actually went to the 4-H Foundation for Massachusetts annual meeting that they have every year, and they actually just raised funds to have more community gardens in that they were in like the Boston area. Like they put more money towards it so that they would have the area to do that. It was really great. It was cool.
Maybe tell people about the camperships and the scholarship opportunities.
Right. So 4-H actually has camps every year over the summer that you can join and do. And 4-Hers run it. So like as a junior leader, I could be a camp counselor if I wanted to. And then so like kids go and experience 4-H on sort of a shorter basis, but they still get the feel for it. And then if they want to, they could join. And then scholarship you can apply for scholarships, and it helps you to pay for college. And the trip I took to Washington, D.C., I didn't pay anything for. The 4-H Foundation covered all of my expenses, and the East Middleborough 4-H actually put money towards me going, like, to pay for more of my expenses. So 4-H really wants you to get that experience where you meet other people. And I met people from Okinawa, Japan, Puerto Rico, and Canada when I went. And they were, the Puerto Ricans had actually started the 4-H down there, so it was really great to talk to them. And in Canada, their 4-H is so rural. This one girl is one of 15 from kindergarten to seniors. Yeah. It was crazy. But they really do fund you really well, and they want you to go to these places.
Just get a little personal about the camping. 65 years ago, when I was a 4-H'er, and believe me, I had never stopped being a 4-H'er because I'm a great believer in the club. They maintained a camp down in Barnstable, Massachusetts, in Mashpee, actually, on the Cape, and it's a co-ed camp. And in 65 years ago, they had about 200 kids as a regular program, and they came in overnight camping for 1 week or 2 weeks. Usually it was a 2-week session that you went in, and you did 4-H type things. But I was a counselor there for 3 years, and a camper for 2 years, and I worked waterfront, teaching people how to row a boat and that kind of stuff. Absolutely fabulous opportunity. I can't say. To begin with, Lake Mashpee is a gorgeous piece of water. I mean, it's 25-foot visibility, but beyond that, in the swimming and things, which was always fun, they had lots of 4-H type things to do. And like I said, some of the things now I understand down there. One of them I just mentioned, they have a robotics club now, where people come from the city, and they still have the usual things that they had. I had chickens that I showed at the 4-H things, and I got a couple of blue ribbons too. With my sister was in the West Bridgewater Sewing Club that the 4-H had, and she made her own prom gown for her junior year, and she won first prize for showing it, and was given the opportunity to take it to Washington to compete nationally, but the money just wasn't there to do it, so she never got to go, which was kind of too bad. But it really, I can't say enough nice things about the 4-H, really, because they were an important part of my life, and still is.
So STEM is actually a really, my friend Cole, who went with us on the 4-H trip, science, technology, engineering, and math is what he's focused in, and his 4-H group that made his robot actually competes at the national level at the VEX Robotics Challenge and the Skyrise Challenge, so it's really well nationally known. So it's branching off more from the agricultural aspect towards different areas now, which is a lot of fun, which is really good.
Yeah, questions like the agriculture, I don't know too much about it, but larger national issues like agribusiness, what's that doing to smaller farms and that kind of thing, and things like GMO seeds, non-GMO seeds, and that kind of thing.
So, I know in my garden club, we focus more on how to grow the plants and how to teach the kids how to grow the plants, and lesser on the more political issues. But there are other, not specifically in East Middleborough, but there are other clubs, like my friend Lily is part of a public speaking and communications club, and they focus on getting a topic and being able to write a speech in 15 minutes and then talking about it. And they really debate the really controversial topics such as GMOs or non-GMOs. I mean, as a 4-H'er, some people, it varies. Some people you have a lot of 4-H'ers who are against GMOs, and then you have some 4-H'ers who are on more of the scientific end who are for GMOs. So it's actually really great in that public speaking club where you get to debate that, which is fun.
Point of just curiosity. this is the Benjamin Beal Howard Lecture Series. Isn't he in your bloodline?
Yes.
Okay.
My,
That's what I was gonna
What
say.
is he?
So
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
my grandmother is a Howard. So yes.
Oh, wow.
So I just thought that that would be an interesting point to bring
Comes
up.
full circle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have a lot of people join 4-H that are homeschooled?
So many people join 4-H that's homeschooled. It's actually kind of awesome. I have looked at homeschool in a totally different perspective by meeting these people through 4-H. They get to do 4-H and also be a part of like sports teams at schools, but learn in their own environment, so they can learn more and take field trips and sort of incorporate 4-H more into what they learn, I think, than we do at school. And the great thing, I'm really happy with this Howard lecture, is that the kids who have the TV are gonna be able to see what 4-H is and really know what it is, because no one really does unless you are a part of it already. And a lot of parents don't really know what it is either, because they were never a part of it as a child either. And at school, we don't really, you focus more on academics, and the great thing in like sports and like the clubs you already have at school. But the great thing about 4-H is it happens after all of those. So I was able to do it because after all of my practices, 4-H was after those at night. And so it is something you can incorporate, and I think it's something that so many people would enjoy if they just knew more about it and knew what it was and how it can help you with opportunities and getting into college. Yeah. It's important. I'm just saying.
It works.
It does. Yeah. So.
So
Thank you.
very much,
Very
Maya.
much.
That was awesome. Good job.
It was short, but it was fun.
You did a great job.
Spread it, guys. It's fun. I love 4-H.